Hello, everybody. We are talking about Japan. Okay, the team members are Cristian Alexander Alvarez Garcia, Johana Maria Bolivar Ramirez, Daniela Maria Restrepo Alvarez, and Diana Patricia Vera Alza. Okay, Japan in Japanese is Nihon or Nippon. That means the sun's origin or land of the rising sun. Japan is a country located in Eastern Asia and is an island chain between the North Pacific and the Sea of Japan, to the east of the Korean Peninsula. This location is on the Pacific Ocean along the east coast of Asia. Its population is about 125.5 million of people in July of 2020. Its capital is Tokyo, and its area is almost 378,000 square kilometers. Okay, Japan is distributed in 8 regions. The Hokkaido is the first region to the north of the country. This is the Tohoku region. Kanto, in Kanto is Tokyo, its capital. Chubu, Kinki, Chugoku, Shikoku, and Kyushu. In Kyushu is including Okinawa. The Japan is composed by a lot of islands. This is 4 main islands: Hokkaido, Honshu, this is Honshu, Shikoku, and Kyushu, and 6,000 small islands and islets, including Okinawa. Okay, about the climate, the climate varies for tropical in south to cool temperate in the north of the country. The terrain is mostly rock and mountainous, like we can see in the picture. This country have natural hazards, like the volcans, because this is a country located in the Pacific Ring of Fire. This produces that the country have many volcans, many dormant and some active. These volcans produce seismic activity. This activity produce about 1,500 seismic occurrences every year. And also other natural hazards are the tsunamis and typhoons. All of the most of this hazard is produced by the volcanic activity. Okay, this country have some environmental issues like air pollution produced by the power plant emission that results in acid rain. This acid rain produces acidification of lakes and reservoirs, degrading water quality and threatening aquatic life. This is the consequence of the air pollution. Other issue is the Fukushima nuclear disaster occurred in 2011. About this disaster, Japan originally planned to phase out nuclear power, but it has now implemented a new policy of seeking to restart nuclear power plants that meet strict new safety standards. One advantage about the location of Japan is an strategic location in Northeast Asia, because gives to the country a good ubication to make business in the Asian continent.
Cultural aspect. Religion. Regarding the religion, we have that Shintoism and Buddhism are the two main religions of Japan. Shintoism is based on believing in gods called kami. These are sacred figures that take the form of things and concepts important for life, such as wine, rain, mountain, trees, rivers, and fertility. Shintoism is a religion based on optimism, and evil is believed to be caused by evil spirits. Buddhism was received by the rulers as the new state religion of Japan. Initially, it did not spread among the of its complex theories. This religion is based on the fact that everyone can achieve salvation and that self-enlightenment can be achieved through meditation and discipline. However, this religion is linked to Shintoism since funerals are carried out in Buddhist way. Different languages. The dominant language of Japan is unsurprisingly Japanese, and no one knows for sure how it emerged in the country. What is known is that the people who inhabited the area a long time ago spoke a different language that has been lost over time. There are around 750 local Ryukyuan dialects, and they don't look like standard Japanese at all. In fact, they don't understand each other. Social rules. Relationships are based on respect and trust, without neglecting formality, which is why it is important for them to maintain certain traditions such as vows. These are used to say hello, goodbye, thank you, or sorry. Also, the action for removing footwear before entering a place such as temple, a house, or even a restaurant is seen as a symbol of respect and cleanliness. Other social tips. Respect. The suffix "sein" is often used when referring to another person and is a term of respect. Eating. Before and after eating, the Japanese put their hands together and make an act of gratitude. It is advisable not to wet the rice with soy sauce. The Japanese are very proud of the rice, and this seemingly innocent action may surprise and even offend some restaurant owners. You cannot walk and eat in public. About the typing, there is no a type in Japanese restaurant or their places that many Westerners will expect to give. The Japanese will always provide the best possible service and want to do their job with pride. Business culture. To establish business relationships, they previously carry out visits to the market in which they wish to invest for several months. This in order to get to know potential clients on strengthening personal relationships. This translates into the generation of trust. Business meetings are managed well in advance, where punctuality and courtesy prevail. Although most Japanese entrepreneurs and investors speak the English language in order to avoid misunderstandings and promote more comfort among investors, they often use the services of an interpreter.
Now, we will talk a little about administrative and political factors. During rapid economic development in the 1960s and 1970s, Japan regained its influence and became one of the world's major powers. Japan has pursued a more active foreign policy in recent years, recognizing the responsibility that accompanies your economic strength. As for the government, the new constitution that came into force on May 3, 1947, stipulates that the supreme power resides in the people. Independence from the legislative, executive, and judicial power is recognized. The Diet is the highest body of power. This corresponds to the legislative body. The people are in charge of electing it. The Diet also has the right to have an opinion in the election of the judges of the Supreme Court of Justice. Any citizen, man or woman, over 20 years of age has the right to vote in legislative election for the Diet. Regarding working hours, the maximum daily working hours are 8 hours, and the maximum weekly working hours are 40 hours. However, this can be flexible. In Japan, they use lifetime employment, meaning that when you start working for a company, you can stay there until you retire. The so-called consumption tax is the VAT of Japan, exempt financial operation, medicine, social welfare, and exports. Consumer economy of Japan is large, broad-based, and sophisticated. The per capita income of $43,118 support its strength as a consumer market. Japan is highly dependent on the import of natural resources. For example, it is the largest net buyer of food products in the world. Japan is the third largest economy in the world, after the United States and China. Japan is a key member of the international trading system, with a market that respects the rule of law and provides strong protection for real and intellectual property rights. I think that Japan can be a good business partner.
Economy. Japan's economy is the third largest in the world after the United States and China. Cooperation between government and industry. The Japanese custom of hard work and mastery of technology have led Japan to the economic success it enjoys today in less than half a century. Japan's economy is highly exposed to external impacts because of its strong dependence on exports. This vulnerability has been on display in recent years, as its economy experienced periods of recession alongside the slowdown in the global economy. As expected by the Japanese government, external overhangs resulted in a slower growth rate in 2019. Growth was mainly driven by domestic consumption, which significantly boosted just before the increase in national sales tax came into effect at the beginning of October 2019. On the other hand, business investment and exports has been weakened by the effects of the trade war between the United States and China. According to the updated IMF forecast from April 2020, due to the outbreak of the COVID-19, GDP growth is expected to fall to -5.2% in 2020 and pick up to 3% in 2021. Deflation in Japan began in the early 1990s. On March of 2001, the Bank of Japan and the Japanese government tried to eliminate deflation in the economy by lowering interest rates, part of their policy of quantitative easing, despite having interest rates close to zero for a long period. This strategy was not successful. Once interest rates close to zero could not stop deflation, some economists, such as Paul Krugman and some Japanese politicians, they talk about deliberately causing or at least creating fear of inflation. Main sectors of industry. Even though Japan has some deposits of gold, magnesium, coal, and silver, the country has very limited natural resources overall, and as a result, is highly dependent on imports to meet its raw material and energy needs. On the other hand, thanks to its large maritime area, the country is one of the world's largest producers of fishing products. However, given that only 11% of Japan's surface is suitable for cultivation, the agricultural sector is small in Japan. Agriculture contributes marginally to GDP 1.2% and employs only 3.4% of the workforce. The industrial sector is highly diversified, manufacturing products ranging from basic goods such as steel and paper to sophisticated technology. The service sector accounts for 69.3% of GDP and employs 72.2% of the workforce. Major services in Japan include banking, insurance, retailing, transportation, and telecommunications. The country also has a significant tourism sector, which has seen a substantial growth in recent years. This is our sources, and thank you for seeing this video.